wish to call to order the meeting of the Rutherford County Regional Planning Commission for March 9th, 2026. Good to see each and every one of you here. At this time, we'll have the prayer and pledge allegiance, and we'll ask Commissioner Jason Beaver to lead those two. Commissioner?
Lord God, we just thank you for this time together, Lord. We just thank you for each member. We pray for your blessings upon them, Lord. Thank you for this wonderful county, Lord, that we serve. And Father, we just pray for your wisdom in everything we do. We just thank you, Lord, for everything you do for us. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Madam Secretary, may please call the roll for determination of quorum.
Jason Beavers. Here. Lee Bogle. Here. Amber Brown.
Here.
Trey Gooch. Here. Shannon Hicks. Here. Mike Cush. Present. Charlotte P. Here. Jeff Phillips. Present. Michael Shirley.
Here.
Jim Thompson. Here. Pettis Reed.
Here.
We have a quorum.
We do have a quorum. We'll now have the approval of our minutes for February 9th, 2026, and I'll call on our Vice Chairman, Charlotte P.
I have read the minutes, and I move for their approval.
We have a motion to approve, and we have a second. All those in favor, say aye. Those opposed, the minutes have been approved. Mr. DeMasi, do we have any public comment?
No, sir. Nobody signed up.
No, we do not have any public comments at this time, but items withdrawn or deferred.
No, sir. The agenda you have is accurate.
All right, we'll move right into our new business then. Starting with A, rezoning and zoning ordinance amendment request. That's pretty much the business for tonight. Remember that all rezoning regulation amendments requests will be considered at the April 16th, 2026 Board of Commissioners meetings unless deferred or withdrawn by the Planning Commission or the applicant. Beginning with number 1, Joshua Hein is REZ 25010. Location is 9180 Horton Highway. The Commissioner's District 8, myself, which is size of site is approximately 10.4 acres. Tax map 143. Existing zoning is residential low density. Proposed zoning is planned unit development for a horse arena, restaurant, coffee shop, and boutique. Mr. DeMasi.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, and good evening, everybody. This application probably does look familiar to most of you. This was actually considered by the Commission back in August of last year. After the public hearing and questions from the Planning Commission, it was deferred to give the applicant an opportunity to provide some more specific information about the type of hours, restaurants, other items. I did include the minutes from that meeting as part of your agenda package for your reference to help maybe just refresh your memory a little bit. There's been several changes made to the pattern book. A lot of new pages have been added. There have been some improvements made. We did send our most recent round of comments that we had about a week and a half ago, I guess is what it was back, roughly about a week and a half ago. And they did respond. There is a file on your iPads. It kind of goes over how they addressed most of those comments and talking points there. The revised pattern book didn't make it back, so what you have on there is, it's revised from the time we looked at it in August of last year, but it doesn't have the most updated comments on there, so I just would have you refer to that document that's on your iPads for that reason. Just to give you just kind of an overview, as you remember, they are intending to rezone us to a planned development for a thoughtfully planned, community-oriented facility, which would include professionally equipped riding arena, stables, also to provide local residents with a calming, well-appointed environment to house and care for their horses. You'll find information on the uses on page 6 of the pattern book. Things like a farm-to-table restaurant, coffee shop, boutique, that's all the things that Chairman Reed spoke to just a moment ago. The goal to keep things local, support nearby farmers, makers, and the community around us. You'll find additional description on page 4, conceptual layout on page 20. There are also the notes from the neighborhood meeting, which was included in your last agenda packet as well back in August. Probably the biggest change that was made during this time, and part of the reason that it took a while to get back before the Planning Commission, shows some of the traffic improvements that will be necessary due to this particular development should it be approved. Horton Highway is a state road, so TDOT approval is going to be required for any improvements that they make. They did complete a traffic access report, which is a little different from a full traffic impact study. It's a little more localized to that area and the impact just to that specific entrance. That has been submitted. It was reviewed by our traffic consultant. Study did conclude that a southbound left turn lane into the site was warranted, so that is mentioned. The study also concluded that a northbound right turn lane was not warranted, but was only by a small margin. You'll see that our consultant and staff agreed that we should discuss, and this is something we want to bring to the Planning Commission's attention tonight, discuss the feasibility and appropriateness of providing for the right turn lane at the site driveway. The study did find that the forecast for entering right turn volume is expected to fall below the guideline thresholds, but did note that the posted speed limit of Horton Highway is 55 miles an hour, which is documented in that report. The report that we received from our consultant went on to say the presence of a right turn lane would provide enhanced safety to address the difference in travel speeds between turning and through vehicles that occur at a generally isolated and potentially unexpected location. So this is something that we just think should have a little bit more discussion as we discuss this application tonight. I will say that there's some additional information on your iPads. We did receive a letter today in opposition to this request. That letter is on your iPads. I believe it's got the file number, and then this says letter of opposition on there, so I just want to make sure that you're aware of that on there as well. With that, I believe the applicants are present. At least I think I saw them come in. Yes, yeah, okay. So with that, we'll be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners, questions for staff? Commissioner?
On the traffic report, it only required, did it require a right turn or?
It required the left. The right turn did not meet the warrants as through that analysis that they did. However, it was pretty close. And our consultant basically said, this is probably something considering the speed out in that area, 55 miles an hour, that you might want to take a look at. He said if it was not as close, he might not worry about it so much, but because it's so close to warranting it, that it's worth a discussion, and I'll let Mike speak to that in a little more detail.
Yes, sir, and the fact that they're pulling horse trailers in and out, thought it would be a good idea to add the right turn as well.
Just with the stacking coming both directions if they have an event.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike,
Brown?
can you pull that aerial again? I just want to visualize that, please.
So this is the current condition. This is a driveway to the back for, I believe, three residential lots back here. But the proposed access would be this driveway that the lots use. This existing driveway would go away. TDOT only wants one access to this site.
And just out of curiosity, because you have it pulled up, the red, that's traffic right now?
No, that's
Okay, I was
just
just-
the Horton Highway, the center line of Horton Highway, yeah.
Okay.
Other commissioners? Questions, comments?
I got a question, Mr. Chairman. On your comment number 8, a licensed soil scientist has already completed a site evaluation, says it's good for 100 occupants. I'm trying to filter through cooking. If we got 100 occupants, that's one thing, but if we're going to have a grease trap and all that for meals, I'd be interested if we had any discussion about what they're planning on doing as far as the restaurant.
Right, and of course, anything that they would construct as far as like a full kitchen, having a restaurant, obviously they're going to have some kind of a kitchen facility like that. It would have to meet all state requirements as far as, like you said, grease traps, backflows, and all those things. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? If not, I'll ask that the applicant or their representative come forward this time. Good evening. just come forward here, give us your name, and sort of explain what you're doing, and be available to answer questions for the commissioners.
Yes, sir. My name is Chris Gant. I'm the attorney for Hein Properties and Josh Hein. I've been brought in to assist Josh with this matter. You all have the request before you. We have responded to, I believe there may be one set of outstanding comments that we have, that we need to provide some responses to. I believe those were dated 2/27. I don't know if you all have those. We can certainly provide those quickly. I also have Mr. Hein here today to answer any questions regarding the specifics of the development itself. We also have Kelsey McGee, the engineer, here as well. What I will say is that we have reviewed the consultant's letter about the traffic study, and we are prepared to move forward with a right turn lane, even though it fell a bit below the threshold just due to the concerns that were brought up in the consultant's letter. We have reviewed that, and I will just say at the outset, we are prepared to not only do the left turn lane, but that right turn lane into the property as well. I'm happy to entertain any questions that you all have, and I would also, in doing so, ask that Josh Hein be allowed to respond as well, and also Kelsey McGee on any technical questions dealing with the development.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Thank you. If you drive around Rutherford County, I don't think, there's not much that needs to be built without a turn lane. But I have a question on where, and it may be on here and I just don't see it, where do you load and unload horses?
The part, and what I'm looking at or what I have in my hand is the layout plan. There were a couple different, if you look in the part that's specified for the horse loading and unloading is down at the bottom of that, I guess it's kind of like a circular driveway, long circular driveway. At the very bottom of that, the building at the bottom is the stables. So the horse unloading would take place in that driveway adjacent to the stables. So that would be, obviously, we want to keep the horses separate from the pedestrian and other vehicular traffic coming in to the development.
Where's the trailer parking after they unload?
The trailer, I know.
And if you need
I know
to
we
bring,
ha-
Mr. Chairman, are
sorry.
we okay if he brings the rest of the applicant up to answer
Yes.
some of these questions?
Is the applicant here?
Mr. Hines here, yes, and
Won't you come forward?
he could certainly answer that question. I apologize.
Thank you.
I
That's
don't know
okay.
it right
Another
off.
question that I have, just so y'all can reference it.
Sure.
Is the Walter Way, the private drive, is that going to be, this was one of my questions from last time, is that paved now or is it gravel?
My understanding is that is going to be paved.
Yes.
Is that correct, Mr. Hine?
Yep,
Walter Way.
Correct.
The question was whether Walter Way was going to be paved.
that is correct.
Okay.
Now, as far as parking goes for like horse trailers, it's not drawn in specifically here, but in that roundabout, we're going to kind of hug that round turn is the objective. And a lot of this would play out, once we brought in like an official site plan and engineering, civil, we would comply and be very thoughtful of incoming traffic and outgoing traffic, whether it's for horses or And this is going to be like a private barn and facility for boarders. So as far as them offloading and loading up and offloading their horses, the objective is you have your indoor riding arena, and that's what it's catered around. Once we put those rules in place, and then for offloading and unloading would be for, there's trails in the area and people that love horseback riding and trails. My wife and I both enjoy that. So there's some places that are close by. So it wouldn't be like a frequent thing, like an everyday thing, eliminating as much congestion as possible. But
Josh, regarding Walter Way, are you paving it the entire way or just the portion that'll access the access drive?
so the entire area, Walter Way will be paved.
All the way to the end of your property, going to the houses in the back?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And then, yeah, the entire area will be paved. That's shown on the plans here.
Mr. Hein, excuse me, but do I not see someone else back there that's been involved in this as well?
Yeah.
Yes, Kel.
She's the brain.
That's what I'm thinking. Is that not the brain that has done this?
Yes.
Would she not like to come up and,
Absolutely.
we need one lady to help two men explain
That's
what's
true.
going on here.
Hi, Kelsey McGee, Square Engineering. I guess I'll speak to Walter Way. Yeah, the intention is for it to be paved all the way to the end. The intention is also for the commercial access to come into Walter Way sufficiently far away from Horton Highway so that we have a good separate access and good stacking capabilities for the outbound lane.
Anyone else with questions? Over here?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Anything like this anywhere else that's similar to this? Are y'all copying a design, or is this strictly your brainchild, or is there something that we could look at or develop a history on so that, anyway, is there anything like this anywhere close in Middle Tennessee or Kentucky or anywhere?
No, this is kind of just a dream project for my wife and I. I own the majority of the lots actually in this development. We're building homes throughout, so. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, yeah.
So I also own the majority of the property in this development. So there's 12 parcels, and I own half of them, and we're being very intentional about what we build out there. And, I'm pouring a lot of money into this community, and what's lacking out here was just, the restaurant. And if anything, Leaper's Fork is a very, there's the boutique stores that they have down there, the small separated boutique stores. I thought that could have been like a very charming appeal, but on a very smaller scale. Having a restaurant and a cafe. Just trying to bring in a little bit more local traffic to have like a healthy environment, and it was more of a dream kind of passion project. So
You do have a lot of land, so you see yourself growing and expanding into the future at some point in time, or is that your desire or hope?
Yeah, I would love to, since we're making it a home, and being very mindful too. And I don't like homes that are stacked on each other. I like, anywhere between 5 acre minimum lots, and, we love our peace and quiet, and, we want to honor that too. So that's a big part of what we're doing here, is also being mindful of, whether it's the photometrics, the light, the sound, but just bringing in a community aspect instead of a off on your own, which is still good. But
I don't know how to ask this, and it may not mean anything, but large animals, cows, horses,
yes.
relieve themselves, okay?
Yeah.
When you clean out those stalls, what do you do with what's left over?
We usually just haul it off. We have, where we currently are boarding our horses, Ruby Fire and Equestrian Facility out of Franklin. We've been working with them pretty closely, so if we needed to haul manure there. Yeah, that's more or less on the engineering and how the stables will be designed, but we plan on pouring some good money into it to make it efficient.
So to dispose of that waste, you normally haul it off-site? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting, thank you. When I was young, we spread it around some of the hay fields and grew a healthier hay, but
Yeah, if we had the space for it, we'd love to keep it, but unfortunately, we don't.
Commissioners, any other questions?
I think, Mr. Chairman, on last meeting, we had quite a bit of discussion on the hours of operation. We talked about the number of people. And then the one thing caught back up today for me was a question about the soil site being capable of handling it. I noticed in the notes here it says Eagleville city officials state they're concerned about emergency response and whether it made more sense for this to be within their city limits. The question, I think, always comes back with them. I know they got a restaurant out there they're struggling with right now with grease traps and wastewater. And I see here that looks like on the soil site they're saying 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that soil site goes away real quick when you got a grease trap,
Yes, sir.
right? You want to address that?
Absolutely. And, you know, wastewater is something that, once we get into the technical design, we'll be able to focus more in on what the actual capacity of those soils are. There are definitely some good standards out there for the installation of grease traps and gathering up that oil to prevent it from going out into those fields. And so, of course, the intention is whatever goes out there, that we're going to hopefully have a well-designed and intentional system that's going to keep all of that waste consolidated, solids consolidated, grease consolidated where it needs to be.
In hours of operation?
Do you want to answer that?
Yeah, so we have here listed on page 5 the hours of operation, you know, for the restaurant, the cafe, you know, Monday through Sunday from 4 to 10 for dinner, Saturday and Sunday from 9 to 4 for brunch, cafe, and the boutiques would be anywhere from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. But we're gonna stay within, you know, what Rutherford County states and be very, and I'm living there too, so, you know, I'll have an open ear to the neighbors for sure, so, yeah.
Anyone else? If not,
if I could just
got one over more on here.
just follow up one more, Mr. Chairman. So we've got 25 stalls, right? That means maybe 25 horses on site. Is that correct? Would it be more than that?
No, we would actually do anywhere between 18 to 20 horses, and then the other stalls would be your wash stalls or your clean stalls. So when I say stalls in general, I'm not saying 20, or when I'm not saying 24 horses necessarily.
So what happens? I own a horse, you stall it for me, and I want to ride it. Do I ride it here?
Yeah.
Do I have to take it someplace else?
Well, you'll definitely want to use the indoor riding arena for sure. So it's a good sized indoor riding arena, and it's going to be heated and cooled. So that Tennessee heat will get you. Yeah, absolutely. It's a great place. Now, I would advise anybody to learn inside of an indoor and then venture out on trail. But this gives the people that are going to board here the ability to ride year-round without having to worry about the weather.
Thank you.
Commissioner Shirley.
I thought I had seen it. Is there, on your events, the instructional programming, lessons, clinics, workshops, you had mentioned shows at the previous meeting that we had. Is it in the pattern book about how many of those you'll have maximum a year?
What did we say? I believe so.
I was just trying to get an idea, are we talking one a weekend, or once a month, or once a?
Oh, I would, it's going to be a once a month thing, if
Okay.
that.
Is that specified in the pattern book for clarity?
Let's see.
The amount of the activities from where outside people may be coming in?
That I'd have to kind of go back through and make sure. Let's see. Is there any events here? What's that? We can add it back in if it's not in here, but I thought it was.
Yeah, I felt like I'd seen, and it may have been, I was trying to read back through the minutes of our last meeting when you all spoke with us. And I felt like I saw it, but
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to get it on the record as to how many events where we had talked about horse shows and riding clinics and things like that. How
Yeah,
many-
no more than once a month.
No more than once a month?
No, yes.
Okay.
If that. And we'll make sure to add that back in here. It must have, when we were editing the project summary, it must have been taken out by accident, so.
And would you define that as just off, that those are from people not boarding at your facility coming on to site would be once a month, besides not the restaurant, but for horse activities?
Yeah, just because there's a liability there, and when you put money into a horse, and, you know, it would be, we're trying to design it too where we can have some sort of viewing area, but we also have to be mindful of the riders that are paying for it. And
No, I'm talking about off-site, like you're having horses boarding.
yeah,
How often would horses be coming on to the site that aren't boarded there? You're saying no more than once a month?
yeah, no more than
Y'all
once a month.
y'all have trails and stuff that people may come on.
Yeah, it would be more or less going out.
But for educational clinics,
Yes.
workshops, and less shows,
Yeah,
no more than once per
no
month.
more than once a month.
Doug, if we can just make a note of that, clinics, workshops, shows, no more than once a month.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
But based on that, are we saying that we're going to be more of a restaurant than we will be a horse event?
Say that again, I'm sorry?
Is it going to be more of a restaurant? Is that going to be your primary? I'm struggling with which is going to be your primary. What's the primary business there?
Well, everything's catered around this horse facility, but I mean, both would be. The goal is for both of them to be equally active. If that's what you're
I asked this last time. Folks coming in off the street, welcome there. You got to have a horse to eat there.
I do have to. What's that?
Is the restaurant going to be open to general public, or do you have to? be
Oh,
part
yes,
of it?
yes. Oh, absolutely. Yes,
Thank you.
of course. Yeah, this won't be closed off to the borders. This is for the public.
Any other questions? If not, you may be excused.
Thank you.
I will now call the meeting open for public comment period. And at this time, we'll ask that if anyone has any comments that are relating to this, either for or against, you'll have exactly 3 minutes to do so. You'll notice up here on the podium that there are 3 lights. There's a green light, yellow light, red light. Works the same way as if you're out here on the traffic light system here in the county. Green light means you have plenty of time to talk. Yellow light means you need to slow down. Red light means you need to stop. So we ask that you follow these signals in what you do there to allow people to address this particular issue. It's not a question and answer time. It's only for you to make your comments relating to the subject. So we'll ask that one person begin right now that has something to say. And come forward. Let us have your name and who you are. Evening, sir.
Commissioners, My name is Ben Bradford with the Thompson Burton Law Firm, 1801 West End Avenue, Nashville, Tennessee. I'm here representing Kurt and Jessica Overhart, owners of the property at 2415 Walter Way, which is on the property directly behind this on the driveway. As noted in our letter that we submitted earlier today, we request that you defer the requested PUD until there's time to impose some conditions and make some revisions to the allowed land uses. As a technical matter, we're concerned about the vagueness of the land uses in the pattern book on pages 6 and 30. In our experience, these PUD land use restrictions last a long time, and they become challenging as ownership and areas change, and the original intent of the developers and the owners at the beginning become less clear, which is good for attorneys because we get to argue about what the words meant back then, but it's easier to just do it right at the beginning, either by aligning the land uses with what's in the county zoning code or by describing the rules here with sufficient clarity. This pattern book does that with some of these uses. It's easy to understand what food and beverage and retail are. Our concern is the education and community and events and assembly uses on page 30 of the pattern book are not described in the zoning code, and they don't come with much guidance by way of the pattern book. Which brings us to our second issue. Our clients acquired this property based on covenants and conditions limiting the lots other than Lot 9 in this subdivision to residential use only. Now, our clients don't have any issue with existing stables, the improvement of the stables, or the riding arena. Their concern is that the events described here are going to result in light and noise late at night and cause traffic issues for them. The pattern book references weddings, banquets, fundraisers, festivals, ticketed shows, seasonal markets, and farmers markets occurring on the property. Again, our concern is the timing, size, and frequency of these events, not anything to do with the restaurant or the equestrian uses. So we recognize that some number of these events is reasonable, and there's some way to do this that wouldn't impair our clients' ability to enjoy their property and their residence. But as written, the PUD really doesn't say anything about how many people you can have on the property and at what hours, and what kind of amplified noise, and where they should park and how you should run traffic. So we request that this commission defer until the land uses can be further clarified in the pattern book and some reasonable conditions on the event and commercial uses can be devised to reduce the impact of noise and traffic. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next. Anyone else? Come forward. I do not see anyone else, so I will close this public comment period. Commissioners, it's up to you to make a decision one way or the other, or if you want to ask any more questions.
I guess my biggest question is, if they put a number in the book, how do we regulate that, Doug?
Well, what'll have to happen is if there are excessive events, quite frankly, we're going to be dependent upon the neighbors in the area to reach out to us and tell us that they're going over what their allowable limits were. Obviously, we can't be out there all the time, trying to figure out how many events they have. So as part of zoning enforcement, we would just hope that if they were going above and beyond that, somebody would reach out to us and let us know. Realistically, that's how it would have to happen.
Mr. Chairman, I rode out by there and went on Amble Road just to get a picture of what I was looking at. And just because he's got Thompson on top of his hog group, I'm no relation to any of these people. I don't know him. I do think he raises some good questions that need to be worked out with the neighbors. Need to be worked out with me. I'm not clear on soils. I'm just concerned if we rezone this and we don't know, especially if he's putting a restaurant in there. I think all that needs to be determined before we rezone something we don't really know. If I was going to run a restaurant, I'd already know what I had. Right now, we'll check that out later. Well, if we rezone it, it's a little bit too late to check that out later. I'd want to know, especially if I'm going to put a restaurant. I think lighting's been brought up, parking's been brought up. noise has been brought up. That is a very rural little spot there on Horton Highway. I'd make a motion, we defer it so the things that brought out, things covered in this letter, addressed. My motion.
Have a motion to defer. Is there a second? Have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
Mr. Thompson, can you list again what you're wanting answers to for that deferral before they bring it back?
Right, I think it's on the record, it's in here, talking about parking, reasonable noise, what noise is gonna be acceptable, what's the limits as far as people. There's a whole list of stuff that I wrote down. Traffic, address the covenants that exist with existing neighbors as far as being residential and that nature. He just mentioned it would be on the record, light and noise, all those things above. And I added in the soils. If we're going to prove this, I think we need to know what the soils exist there. Otherwise, we may approve a restaurant that cannot even accommodate a restaurant.
For the soils point, I share your concern, but if we approve it and the soils don't support it, we're not really out. We haven't approved anything that's not reasonable because the soils will limit whether or not they can do it.
Right.
So it's a little different. I share your concern about rezoning, but because it's a PUD, we're putting limits on there. They can't change it because they don't get the soils. They would have to bring it back if they wanted to change their plan to say, hey, we can't do the restaurant anymore, and now we want to put something else out there. They can't do that because it's a PUD. So I think we're okay on the soils for the restaurant. Noise and parking, I don't think I got clear enough answers there either. The people limits as well. And traffic, I think we've addressed. They agreed that they would put the right turn lane in, which I was going to specify, like we need to be able to decelerate safely with horse trailers and things and be able to move over. And then the last point about the covenant, from what the attorney just said, that this particular property isn't bound by those covenants. So the rest of the lots are, but not this one. So I share a lot of your concerns with parking. I just wanted to make sure we were clear on those. Doug, were there any other concerns that you all had that weren't addressed by the applicant?
Well, I think that when the applicant came up to speak originally, and I forget the gentleman's name, their attorney that spoke, forgive me, but he had talked about the most recent round of revisions that hadn't been submitted back. I would like to see that. There was something in there, especially, Mike, can you pull up the pattern book? You actually had that page up. It was one of the last pages that was there that I wanted to, as an example of one of the things I had some concerns about. Go to toward the very end there, Mike. There was a page, keep going, right there, yeah. I asked them one of the comments I had was about, especially that administrative modifications, X3, there toward the bottom of the page, where it says the planning director or designee may approve administrative modifications to building footprints, internal circulations, et cetera, et cetera. There are some things in there that the zoning ordinance is what dictates what I can and cannot approve administratively, or what's considered a major deviation from a plan, not something in the pattern book. So that, I told them that just needs to be removed, and you need to put something in there just saying the planning director can make administrative modifications per the allowances that are listed in the zoning ordinance. So those are things I would like to see, the most recent round of comments that we had sent out. So
if those are for the record, and then I would like things to address, in order for me to vote in favor of this motion, would be to specify that Walter Way is going to be a dustless surface and not gravel, at least along to wherever they're going to turn off, like where the pond is, where it turns back. Just because I know there was a house on that 9178 that was close by that I was concerned about. And then the limits the number of activities that they're going to have, and then, as the speaker said, a definition of what those are. Those would be some concerns that I would have as well, if y'all could address.
Mr. Chair, the red flag for me is the weddings. We really didn't talk about that, but as we all know, we have chatted about a lot of different wedding venues in the last several years, and those create their own set of problems of noise and light and late night activities. So that needs to be addressed or stricken from the one of the principal uses. So that's one of the red flags for me.
Any other comments?
Can I make one comment? Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, Tanya. This has been deferred one time, Doug, right? And
Yes, sir.
It's eligible to be deferred again?
I believe it is, yes, because there are still questions that we have. Now, they have addressed, in all fairness, I will say, they have addressed some of our concerns. I will say that. But I still think there's some open-ended things. Plus, there are, like I said, revisions and things to the pattern book that we just did not receive. So I don't think we're necessarily deferring it because we think there's some sort of a fundamental problem with the site. I think we're deferring it more for them to clarify a few things. Even the speaker that spoke during the public comment period, understood that I don't think he was necessarily opposed. I think he was more just wanting a little bit more clarity on some things that should be clarified. So,
I guess my question really was that all of these things that we're talking about, the reasons we're deferring it or considering to defer it, they could or could not be addressed when it comes to the site plan.
some of them will have to wait till, so, I mean, a lot of their responses to our comments really were, well, we're going to wait till we do site plan review for that. To a certain extent, yes, that is an appropriate response. However, and I emailed the applicant this a little earlier today, the whole purpose of this exercise is to make sure that these changes or things that you might want to clarify during the site plan review process don't create some kind of a change to the overall concept plan that would require it to come back before the Planning Commission as some sort of a major deviation. So yes, we don't need a full-blown engineered plan right now, but enough work needs to be done to make sure that what they're going to do, I don't need them coming back, oh, we're going to double the size of the building. Well, yeah, I don't think that's really a good idea in this situation. I don't think you can do that. So,
Just a point. We talked about noise and lights and times and those kind of things. We're building schools right and left and putting in football fields, baseball fields, softball fields, all kinds of activities that goes on all times of the day and night, and lights and all of those kinds of things. And we're doing those all over the place. We've got all those complexes in Eagleville itself. I'm not sure that how more disruptive anything like this would be than some of those things that we're putting in residential neighborhoods all over Rutherford County. So, when we're asking someone like this to do some things and make some verifications, I'm okay with that. But if you can't put a facility like this out on the outskirts of Eagleville, where can you put it? And, that's my concern. So we've deferred it once. They've come back with a plan, and we're deferring it again. I just don't want to see them spend a whole heck of a lot of money if it's going to come back and we're going to turn these guys down.
right.
So I just want to make sure that we're receptive to this type of plan, and we're asking them to do some other things, just like the attorney that got up there and said, we want this, 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 and this. What if we come back with this, this, and this, and we meet those standards and give them all the information we can, but they're still going to be opposed to it? So I just want to make sure that we're not asking these guys to spend a lot of money without some type of indication that it's going to be favorably received when it comes back. That's my concern.
And I will say that, again, just at least from staff standpoint, I mean, we have received some folks that have called and have had questions about this. The gentleman that spoke during the public comment period, we've discussed this on several occasions, emailed back and forth several times. Again, I don't see what his concerns are. I don't necessarily think he's opposed, and correct me if I'm wrong, obviously, but it doesn't seem like he's so much opposed as he just wants some clarity on things. And I totally agree with you. I don't think the changes and things that at least we were recommending as part of staff's comments were anything that we're going to make them spend, like you said, a whole lot of money on something that they may or may not get approved. I can certainly understand them not wanting to do that, but I think there needs to be a certain amount of clarity on the concept plan and in the pattern book that would provide comfort to those around it and also provide comfort to the Planning Commission that, yes, if we move this forward, we know what we're getting. Because obviously we don't want them to have something approved and we thought one thing and then, oh, no, we meant this. I'm like, well, your pattern book doesn't say that. And then we're back here again and, 6 months after the fact. So I don't know if the applicant, are you okay as far as, I think you understand what we're doing here and why the deferral is being requested. Is that acceptable to you all? Can you come to the podium?
Yes, Chris Gant with Gant Law, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Yeah, we obviously, my understanding is that, just so everyone's aware, my client, Mr. Hein, did speak to Mr. Bradford's clients ahead of time and spoke to all the neighbors out there. And we certainly will respond to the concerns of the letter. The letter was just given, I understand, today, so I haven't seen the letter yet, but we'll look at it and I'll speak with Mr. Bradford and we'll try to address those concerns, and not just the concerns of the letter, but you all have brought those same concerns up or share those concerns. So we certainly want to address those and understand the need to address those.
Thank you for your
Thank
work.
you, sir.
I appreciate it. Now, it is, to answer Doug's question, yeah, it is. It's, it does boil down to money, too. It doesn't grow on trees. We were just trying to get kind of a feel of, hey, does the community embrace this thing before we poured money into structural, civil, everything else? I've already spent $100,000 on this. And so, yeah, it does boil down to money, and that's, it looks the way it does, but once we want this, and we want it for our community, and everybody around us has embraced us, and this is the first that I've heard it from Kurt, because he was the one who was overly excited about it, and but I also understand it from y'all's perspective that there's more questions that need to be answered, and we can do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
This will be in my district, is where this will be. And I think the uniqueness of this deserves total understanding of what all it's going to be. And I think clarity of it is very important. I think the protection of the rural character of where it's going to be sitting is important, I think, to this commission. And I think that's what you're trying to do here. And I think by the time that you have the clarity that you have, the explanations that you have here, this will be quite unique for that area of the county. And I think that's what we're attempting to do here tonight. It's not to make something hard or something to make that way, it's to make it right. And that's just my explanation of what I see here. We get these answers, we get what we've got, and these individuals go into this project right here, it'll be something that'll be spoke of as far as Rutherford County is concerned. Any other comments?
Hey, Mr. Phillips brought up a good point, asking the question, and I agree with you, Mr. Chairman. They come in, get these questions that were brought up. I don't think anybody's got any problem with going through it.
If not, we'll move into the question, and Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Jason Beavers. Lee Bogle.
Yes.
Amber Brown. Trey Gooch.
Yes.
Shannon Hicks. Mike Cush. Charlotte P.
Yes.
Jeff Phillips. Michael Shirley.
Yes.
Jim Thompson.
Yes.
Pettis Reed.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion does carry, so we will defer it. We'll move now into item 2. J. Boner, REZ 26003. Location is Amable Road. Commissioner is Joshua James. Size of the site is approximately 5.8 acres. Tax map 95, parcel 30. Existing zoning is residential medium density. Proposed zoning is light industrial. Mr. Damasi.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. The applicant intends to rezone this property, as you stated, to light industrial LI to build an office maintenance shop with employee parking in an area for storage of empty dumpsters. The applicant did receive a conditional use permit for a trucking firm back in 2009. I did include a copy of that permit with your agenda packets. His intention, since being zoned to LI when our current zoning ordinance was adopted back in 2013, is to continue operating the same kind of business that's currently on the property. You'll see a concept plan has been included with your staff reports. The applicant does own the property directly to the south and plans to expand his business on the subject property. During our pre-application meeting, we did tell the applicant that the location of the proposed building crossed the property lines, which would necessitate at some point a combination plat. They understood that. We also discussed parking surfaces, storage area location, and screening. The concept plan shows a circular drive onto Almaville Road. Now, Almaville Road, as we've discussed it many times in the past, excuse me, is a state road, so TDOT approval will be required for any new or improved access points. TDOT may require additional traffic improvements such as turn lanes. We have not required a study at this point, but that's not unusual for just a conventional rezoning like this. TDOT may also limit the number of access points that they have. Instead of a circular drive, they may just want to see one common access point for the property. That's something that we'll have to discuss with TDOT. Regardless, they'll have to show all this on an engineered site plan along with any required landscaping. As you see, this does require a type 3 buffer along a residential property line, so they will have to provide some type 3 buffers to the north, south, and east property lines. And of course, our performance standards will also apply. This portion of Almaville Road, this corridor specifically, is within the activity center that's identified in Plan Rutherford. We have considered other similar rezoning requests in this area. This area does appear to be to some extent in an area of transition. There are also several areas in properties, in the area that are already zoned light industrial. Again, the property immediately to the south, which is owned by the applicant, and some others along Franklin Road. Considering these factors, staff does recommend approval of the request. But with that, we'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Commissioners, any questions, comments for staff? Just like we don't have any questions or anything here, so we'll ask that the applicant come forward at this time.
Jay Boner, I own 8999 Amville Road, and this is the separate track next door. I'm just wanting to build a maintenance shop with an office and parking. It's basically trying to just bring it across and keep it away from the road. That's basically the gist of it.
Any questions for the applicant?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner
Mr. Boner,
Peete.
how long have you been in business in Rutherford County?
Oh, have I been in business? Eagle Disposal's been going for 25 years, but I've actually been doing disposal work in this county for 40 years.
Any other questions? If not, thank you, sir. We'll now open it up for a public comment period. And I think the majority of you sitting here has already heard my first explanation for the comment period. So If there's anyone has comments that they would like to come forward, either for or against, we ask that you come forth this time. You'll have 3 minutes for your comments. Please come forward this time. Not seeing anyone. We'll close the comment period. Commissioners?
Drove by this property today as well. I'm gonna move we approve this with staff comments.
Second.
Have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Jason Beavers? Yes. Lee Bogle?
Yes.
Amber Brown? Yes. Trey Gooch?
Yes.
Shannon Hicks? Yes. Mike Cush? Yes. Charlotte P? Yes. Jeff Phillips? Yes. Michael Shirley?
Yes.
Jim Thompson? Yes. Pettis Reed?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion does carry. We'll move now to item 3, Beacon Acquisitions, LLC, REZ 26004, location is 7477 Amelville Road. Commissioner is Joshua James. Size of sites approximately 31.75 acres. Tax map 76, parcel 26. Existing zoning is residential medium density. Proposed zoning is commercial service. Mr. DeMasi.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. This final application tonight, as you stated, is located along Almaville Road. The application states that the proposed buildings are going to be for smaller contractors that need a small shop and outdoor storage, like a landscape company, plumbing company, something along those lines. Concept plan has been included with your application, within the application, but I also put it with your staff reports as well. The plan does show 4 building sites along with parking and storage areas. There is one connection back to Almaville Road and a stub to the east, which would allow for an eventual connection to the South Haven subdivision to provide an additional way out of that development. The site is intended to be constructed in 3 to 4 phases, basically 1 building per phase. This concept plan does show access, as I stated a moment ago, back to Almaville Road. Again, Almaville Road is a state road, so TDOT approval would be required for any new or improved access points. Again, we have not required a traffic study at this point, but that is something that either us or the state could require as we start seeing site plans. This concept plan also does show a proposed crossing of Stewart Creek. This crossing will need to meet all local, state, federal floodplain and stormwater regulations. Of course, this would all have to be shown on an engineered site plan along with any landscape screening. And of course, our performance standards would also have to be adhered to as well. This property is located within the county suburban character area shown on Plan Rutherford, which does anticipate non-residential uses. There are some non-residential zoned properties in this area, the closest non-residential being located not quite directly, but kind of catty corner across the street from the subject property, which is zoned commercial neighborhood. You can kind of see it on the map there Mike has up. It's a little gas station convenience market. The county also operates their convenience center approximately 600 feet to the south, which Mike is highlighting there, which is zoned institutional. Should this application be approved, this would be the largest commercially zoned property in the vicinity. So we did have a neutral recommendation on this request. I will say that there is a letter also on your iPads from got one in the mail today, I believe, or it was within the last day or two. Maybe late last week. I was out of the office for a few days, but that was something that I scanned and did put on your iPads. I wanted to make sure that you guys saw that. So with that, Matt Taylor with SEC is here representing the applicants, and with that, we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioners, questions or comments? Mr. Shirley.
Thank you. Doug, are you aware of any, and maybe the applicant will speak to this, a community meeting for this one?
I don't believe not an official, Mr. Taylor said he would address that. I don't think we had an official meeting.
No one from your office went to a community
Correct,
meeting?
right.
Thank you.
Any more questions for staff? If not, we'll ask that the applicant or its representative come forward. Mr. Matt Taylor from SEC.
Thank you, Chairman. Matt Taylor of SEC, 850 Middle Tennessee Boulevard here in Murfreesboro. We did not host one specifically, but the commissioner there, Mr. Joshua James, held a community meeting on Saturday, and this was one of the projects that he presented to anybody that was there. So he had our plan. just like he had a couple others, and so he did talk to them there. As Doug said, my client, sees this site as being able to provide locations and business opportunities for local contractors such as landscapers or plumbers, just people that need a small shop. It's mainly, they're not big traffic generators, it's mainly employees that would come and go in these areas, but they do need a place to call home. And so in talking with the commissioner here, one of his main asks was that we get a stub back to the east. You can see that on the concept plan. And ultimately, the idea there is to connect back into the South Haven neighborhood to the east. He said that those residents are looking for a second way or an additional way in and out. And so this would provide that opportunity in the future. This also would cross the creek, which is obviously a major obstacle along this segment, getting any kind of east-west connectivity. You can see that, if you look at any aerial, very few crossings along Stewart's Creek, from Stewart's Creek going back, or Almaville Road going back east. Will be required to encapsulate the entire site with a 30-foot type B or type 2 buffer. You can see that on the concept plan. The only places we wouldn't do that would be down in the floodways. We don't want to block any flow there. We've got septic on site as well, and those areas are designated on the concept plan. We've already had our soil scientist, Mr. Lonnie Norwood, out on site as well. And we have started coordinating with TDOT. We've got a meeting with them later this month. We do anticipate, just about any connection to Almaville is going to require turn lanes. So we'll coordinate exactly what they want at that time. That's really all I have. Myself as well as my clients are here if you've got questions now or after the public hearings.
Questions for Mr. Taylor? Right over here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Phillips.
Matt, this is a fairly large piece of property, and the letter that was written talked about the residential character of the area. How difficult would it be to develop this piece of land into lots, residential lots?
I think that into residential lots, the soil and the creek are probably going to be the limiting factor on that. You could definitely do some here. How many, I have not tried to calculate, to be quite honest, Commissioner Phillips. But I think the creek would tend to hinder that, and because you've got limited soil on the backside there as well. And I would say that just the county's coverage limitations. I think this would require no more than a 60% coverage between buildings and any sort of paved surfaces, and so that still leaves a lot of green space on the site. 40%. Some of that's going to be in our detention areas. A lot of that's going to be in our buffer areas around the perimeter. So we'll continue to have a tremendous amount of green space on the site as well.
I would say that ingress and egress too for this project would be much better with the use they're proposing than with residential.
I would agree. This is going to be a lower traffic generator than if we had a bunch of homes here. Absolutely. I drive by about 3 of these type of facilities on my way to work every day, and there might be a few vehicles there, but I rarely see vehicles coming and going. They're very low traffic generators typically.
Mr. Chairman, to that point, can you give me what this might look like? Because I think about there's a lot of home-based businesses that maybe would outgrow their space. Is this the next spot for them where there's not a lot of traffic throughout the day, but there's a lot of activity at 6 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock at night?
Yeah, for instance, the ones that I drive by, there's a nursery that also has, I think, some landscape components with it on my way in on Manchester Highway. There's also, I think it's Eubank Electric that's right there. Like, I see vehicles, but again, I don't, they're coming, they're getting in their work truck and they're leaving. And so it tends to be at, either end. It's probably either right before we all go to work or right after we all go to work, depending on what those hours are. And they're probably getting back before we are normally because they've got to unload and prep for the next day. And so those are he does not have a specific tenant yet. He didn't want to start marketing that until he had zoning. But those are the type of users that he foresees through here. And this stretch of road, I would equate to what I drive past on Manchester Highway. It's a mix between non-residential and some residential. There's a subdivision built all the way around Eubanks Electric, I believe, and so, and it's got some outdoor storage, and it was probably some grandfathered stuff there that would not have some of the protections that we have here, actually.
Other questions? Mr. Taylor? If not, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll now open it for the public comment period. And I think you know the process. We'll remind you that you have 3 minutes, and it's only either for or against your comments, no questions or answers. And we'll ask that you begin. Who's first? And we do need your name.
Hi, I'm Allison Terrell. I reside at 7390 Almaville Road, which is directly across the street from the proposed location. Commissioners, thank you for having me speak tonight. Regarding the rezoning of 26-004, I did email all the commissioners late last week regarding 6 concerns that I have. I'm going to address 3 of those tonight. Number 1, there's only 1 commercial building within the vicinity. As pointed out earlier, it is a neighborhood market, the Almaville Market, which has been there for decades. So anyone who has bought the property within the last 30 years has known that that commercial building is there. We are large lot homes. Most of these homes were built in the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. These are like 1-acre lots, and we all moved out there because we wanted to be more in the country. I think that approving commercial services goes against the use of our current residential medium density context. Just today, as I was preparing to come here, I was staring out my window, and there were 4 beautiful horses that I could see across the street. If this comes in, I'm going to be staring at a warehouse. And that is, it's not, I don't think that it works. My second concern is the safety. The scope of the project has already been introduced as a storage yard, storage facility for commercial trucks, vans, trailers. For those of you who are and do travel Almaville Road, yes, it's a state highway. There are no shoulders. We have had 3 major incidents on Almaville Road in the last few years where tractor trailers have overturned, and they've overturned in the ditch. And that has literally been at my driveway, preventing me from getting into or out of my own home while they have Almaville Road blocked. I cannot imagine that having large trailers, landscape trailers, whatever the idea is, RVs or boats, coming in is really going to help that matter. So, and that is just when tractor trailers overturn. That's not the number of traffic incidents that occur on a normal basis for that road. I know that it is a state highway. TDOT has said that they plan on increasing, but there's no plans to increase Almaville Road yet. The last concern, since I'm getting down to time, is noise and light pollution. A 30-foot buffer means nothing. And with that, I will let someone else speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
My name is Sheree Glazner, and I live on Highway 96, but I grew up in the Amityville community all of my life. I am the daughter of the former property assessor, Tommy Sanford. His residence is directly across the street, kind of catty corner from this property. He passed away in 2015, but my mother still resides there. She still lives in that property, and she also owns another piece of property that's a few houses down from there. Our concerns are the traffic. Traffic is already a nightmare on Amityville Road. This morning, I left her residence to leave from there around 7 o'clock in the morning. There was kids waiting for the school bus at her other piece of property down the street on either side of it. And it took me over 3 minutes to get out of the driveway, sitting at the end of the driveway. So traffic is already very busy at the morning hours and the evening hours. Traffic goes by through there very fast. Just as the former speaker spoke about, there has been several major incidents of overturned vehicles right at this area that has blocked entrances to homes and to be able to get through that area where you have to go completely around. The Amityville Market has been there for over 100 years. It was first established as the Maxwells, and then it was the Woods, and then my father owned it also in the 60s and early 70s. So it has been there for over 100 years. So if you lived in that area, you knew that Amityville Market was there. The Amityville Convenience Center was put in behind the old Amityville School, and the Amityville School, part of it is part of the Amityville Fire Department. So those items are there to help and to serve us, but if you've ever been to the Amityville Convenience Center on the weekends, it is a nightmare, and on Tuesdays, it is also a nightmare. You cannot get through Amityville Road at those points in time. It is horrible. You have to sit in lines of traffic. Sometimes the traffic will weave in and out through the parking lot so that you can get in and out of that area. So one of our major concerns, again, is still traffic. The traffic in those areas, things blocking up, things getting in that area. I have a huge concern for the safety of children that are in that area that are trying to catch buses and stuff of that nature. I live, like I said, on Highway 96 at 9217 Franklin Road. I am directly across the street from 2 landscape companies. Those 2 landscape companies were there when I built my house 20 years ago, or at least one of them was. I have to deal with dust and debris and traffic and the vehicles coming in and out, the noise. Tractor-trailer trucks blocking the road or being over there and causing a disturbance all night. So, thank you.
Thank you. Next.
I'm really nervous, so I'm Barbara Ball. I live at 7717 Almaville Road. This property backs up to my house. And so I have a lot of concerns about this. And I don't know if I have seen plans that these are not small warehouses. They're 10,000 square feet that's going to be back up to my property, my sister's property. It's going to be a lot of noise, trucks loading day and night. I'm sorry, I'm so nervous. And as far as the traffic, when I come out my driveway, which is right beside where the dumpsters are, on Saturdays and Sundays, I can't even get out. And so we sure don't need any more trucks coming and going on Amityville Road. I moved out there 47 years ago to be in the country. I don't want warehouses right behind my house. Thank you.
Thank you.
We don't do stuff like this. I'm Sandra Piper, and I've got 3 acre lots. One of them is, I'm 7715 and 7719. 7715 is where the warehouse is going to be right beside it. And then we're going to have a warehouse right behind the same land, and we just didn't want that. Something that's never been there, and then I was saying it's going to make a lot more traffic and a lot more trucks. And right now, I can't even hardly get my mail out of the mailbox because our mailbox is right on Almaville Road. And I can't hardly get my mail out. It's real dangerous. And we can't hardly get out of our driveway Saturdays and Sundays and Christmas or any holiday. You can't even get in or out of our property for the dumpsters. It's blocked. The only way you can try to let them people let you get by and get in and all that, it's really already really bad. Where if y'all go out there on Almaville Road, on Sunday evenings, you'll see traffic going everywhere, going into the dumpsters, which is bad enough. And so we just don't want any more traffic than we already got on the road. And that, I guess that's it. It's just, if y'all go out there on Sunday evenings or after a holiday, the traffic goes in and out of the dumpster part where the driveway is, and some of the time it's all the way up the road a half a mile or longer. And the days that them trucks fall over on the ditches, the tractor trailers, we can't even get home. They block it off where you can't even get home. There's tractor trailers that goes in the ditches and flip over the whole truck. So we just don't want any more traffic.
Thank you. Next. Anyone else? Not seeing anyone else, I'll close the comment period. Commissioners? Mr. Shirley?
Doug, I'm correct in saying that building locations, parking services, flow of the road, crossing the creek, all of that would be handled in site plan?
Correct. What you're seeing with the concept plan is just that. They're not locked into those designs. Correct.
Thank you. So really, we're just trying to decide if commercial services is the correct zone for this location.
That is correct.
For me personally, I went out and drove down Almaville Road last week, and I was shocked when I crossed the market just how close all the cars were to the road. And one of the big differences, Matt mentioned driving down Manchester Highway, which I do travel down every day. It's a state highway as well, but it has full, complete shoulders. Like a whole tractor trailer can get over and go down that shoulder. And here we have nothing. And actually, Mike, if you go backwards or go back, there's a tractor trailer right there. Can you go past him? So that's good. Now turn around. So, like, this is where I'm hung up. Like, I really don't. I generally think that this could be just fine, but I worry about the traffic. And I feel like this is the same old conversation that we have every time we've had a rezoning request out here in this 840 Almaville Road location. So I don't even know what I'm asking other than just to say that's where I'm kind of struggling on whether we would do this now. Because especially thinking about they're stubbing it out, which is great, to connect to South Haven, but who pays for the traffic light that's probably going to be needed at this intersection with Almaville Road when that happens? Because then that whole neighborhood's going to be dumping out at this location instead of down at Ocala where we're putting in a traffic light. So that's where I'm at. I'm not prepared to make a motion one way or the other. I'm still kind of ruminating this, but maybe a fellow commissioner can help me out.
Sounds like to me part of the traffic problem last week was this commission. Because I don't know how many commissioners I've already heard were out there last week looking at it. Anyone else? Commissioner Beavers?
Doug, so currently zone RM, so 15,000 square foot lots. So, I mean, at 31 acres, you can stick about 90 lots over there.
I mean, in a perfect world, yeah, right. Now, I mean, that's a gross density. You're never going to get that. I mean, realistically, and I've said this before in meetings, you know, when we look at RM developments, you're looking at somewhere between 1.5 units per acre. So you're probably looking somewhere in the lines of either, 30 to 45, if that. A lot of that's based on what kind of septic soil you have back there too. And Matt alluded to earlier the fact that, you got the creek going through there and areas that you can't disturb. You probably won't even get that many. But I mean, it would be, you'd probably get several, but it wouldn't be anywhere near what the gross density would allow.
Let me ask a question. Some people have already mentioned about putting in a development there. Does not a development put you about 4 cars per house that you
Well,
put in there?
it's about, as far as the number of cars, I'm not exactly sure, but the 10 is
Yeah.
number of trips per day.
Does not add
Yeah, it's
pretty
10
good bit of
it's-
traffic as well?
Yeah, the
And
rule
that's
of,
continuous daily?
right, the rule of thumb for a residential unit, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, is about 10 trips per day. So a trip could be leaving and then coming back as a second trip. So if you go to work in the morning, you come back for lunch, you go back, I mean, you're already up to about 4, 5, 6 trips right there. So average is 10 trips per day for one residential unit.
Mr. Chair, I'm interested to see the commissioner in that area and his opinion. And what I heard them say is there was a meeting that it was mentioned, but it was not a meeting about this development. And what Commissioner James said about this development, because I know they have had strong opinions about this area in the past that they have spoken about. So I'm interested in a public meeting about this development and to hear from the commissioner.
I couldn't tell you that.
He knows about this. Now, I'm not comfortable saying whether he was for it or against it, just because I don't think we talked about it to that extent. But I know that he's aware of it. So that's about all I'm really willing to say.
Doug,
Yes, ma'am.
I may have missed this through the discussion, but did it ever specify what type of vehicular traffic that will come with this project?
Not specifically. Now, the businesses, they
That's
were...
more of a bigger concern
right.
too, because we were talking about the 18-wheelers, but it's a bit vague for me, and I'm keep trying to visualize this project, and it's difficult.
Right. What he's asking, at least the type of uses that they're anticipating would be smaller contractors that need small shops and outdoor storage. So I would anticipate, maybe pickups, maybe some box trucks, things like that. I don't think it's really
But no
the
one's
entire...
bringing in like heavy equipment, so I start thinking about that too, because anytime I hear agriculture, I start to think that too.
Right.
So
Now,
I just don't know if.
Right, and understand as well, this is not a planned development, and again, this is not a concept that they're locked into. The uses can change. I mean, there's no way, even if that's what they're anticipating, if that doesn't work out and they want to go to another type of use that's allowed in the zoning ordinance, they can do that. Now, the things that won't change, like the 30-foot wide type 2 buffer and things like that, that's going to be required regardless of the uses. Or if they wanted to do a privacy fence, that could be 15 feet. I mean, those are things that are allowed in the ordinance. So there are some things that will apply regardless. There are some things that they have flexibility on, namely the uses of the property, with what's allowed in the zoning ordinance in that zone.
Mike, could you show how close this is to 840?
Yeah, there's 840 here, and the property's about right in this area here, if you can see my cursor. The blue is the town of Smyrna, Linwood Development. Here's Burnt Knob Road, Almaville, 840, and it's about midway between Independent Hill and 840, if you know where they are.
Chair.
Commissioner P.
I think this is misplaced. I do know there's, south of 840, there are industrial zoning and commercial zoning, but north of 840, they have expressed for a neighborhood zoning. And with the commercial in that area, with the grandfathered in market and the convenience center, I don't think you can count that as commercial. So I cannot vote for this. I think it's misplaced.
Doug, do you have it where you can pull up the neighborhood or the zoning regulations of what would be allowed in commercial services? Because as we mentioned, this is a rezoning. We're not bound to the storage, loading yards, whatever we want to call this, on the concept. What are the things that would be allowed in commercial services?
If you could just bear with me just a moment while
Yep, no problem. And Mike, do you know, has the city, has Amaville Road been widened anywhere?
No, I think the Linwood development is planning on adding a few traffic signals and turn lanes. And then I think we are going to get a traffic signal at Ocala eventually, and then maybe a signal or two on the ramps eventually with development.
Are you able to, well, it's just Amaville Road is just, it's not forgiving, like, for any mistakes. And I'm hesitant to put any more traffic in. I know we talked about car trips for a neighborhood would be more, but I know, you know, they're not going to get that many houses on this particular property. So it's hard for me to approve much of anything on Amaville Road without some road improvements, and it gets down to who's going to pay for it, and nobody's willing to do that right now.
Okay, I'm looking at the zoning ordinance here. This is chart, I think it's 2, if I remember right. This is the land use chart that kind of tells us what's allowed in certain zones. It's by activity, land use activity is how this is classified. So no residential uses are allowed in commercial services zone. We'll just get that out of the way right now. No residential uses. When you go under community facility activities, these are things like administrative services. That could be like government offices, things like that. That's allowed. Community assembly uses are permitted. Those could be churches, uses like that, lodges, those kind of things. Small and medium are allowed by rights. Large, which is anything over 500, is by special exception, which means it would have to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Community education, that could be a school of some sort. That's allowed. Cultural and recreational services are allowed. Essential services are allowed. Minimal impact facilities, that could be something like a retreat or something like that would be allowed. Personal group care facilities, daycares, something like that would be allowed. In commercial activities, you are looking at things like animal care, veterinary services, automotive repair and servicing, consumer repair, construction sales and services, which is what he's talking about. That's primarily what the use the applicant's looking at. Entertainment, amusement services, indoor, special exception for outdoor, if they're doing any kind of entertainment, amusement, outdoor. Banks, any kind of financial institutions, restaurants, any kind of thing like that. General personal services, that could be like a nail salon, anything like that. General retail, that pretty much covers a gamut of things. That could be, you know, like just a retail shop. I hate to call it just a Dollar General, but that could be, you know, something like that. Group assembly, only by special exception. Medical offices would be allowed. Like hotels, something like that. Transient accommodations would be allowed. Undertaking services, like a funeral home, would be allowed. And then agricultural sales and services. Now, there's a lot of uses that can fall under, like for general retail, for example, there's a lot of uses that fall under general retail, but from a classification, that kind of gives you an overview of what's allowed in commercial services.
Doug, there's a convenience center, there's the Almaville Market. There was another commercial business noted, wasn't there?
Let me pull up my staff report real quick. Those were the two ones that I remembered. No, I think it was just those two. Now, depending, of course, if you start going further, closer to 840, you see some more. If you're going the other direction towards Smyrna, obviously, by the time you get in Smyrna town limits, you start seeing a whole lot more. But I was kind of showing just this vicinity is really what I was concentrating on.
He might be thinking about Mr. Bucher's plant, agricultural business, I guess you'd call it, but that bamboo plant.
Right. Now, that's zoned residentially, as I remember, but I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, but that's been there for quite some time as well.
Mike, in your opinion, does the cut through to the subdivision Stonehaven back there help or hurt traffic?
I think, well, in whose opinion? I mean, so if you do make that connection, you will have residents use that as a cut through to get to Almaville Road. So I don't know if it's a good idea to mix residential traffic with truck traffic in that confined area, because it would be a private street, not a private drive, not a public road. So we wouldn't have any input in that. I don't know if we could have, I mean, you could put an access easement through there, unless it is built to county standards. It's going to be a private drive. So, and I think Michael Shirley made the point, if you have all that additional traffic in here, are you going to make improvements, additional improvements? If they're required to do a turn lane, well, is it going to warrant a traffic signal or anything like that? So, yes, it would be we are always looking for additional ways to dissipate traffic, but that one I would have to think about a lot.
So as those other ones develop, they could be required to put in the traffic signal.
Back here?
Right.
Yeah. You never know. So this is Stewart's Creek, and the town of Smyrna is planning to run sewer down Stewart's Creek in 5 years or so. So when that happens, a lot of this area is going to change. Their goal is to get to 840 interchange.
I'm looking at this, and the more I look at it, you look at a 10,000 square foot building, that's a big building times 4. I'm looking at tractor trailers capabilities there. When I see recessed truck docks, I just saw a tractor trailer going down Amaville Road. There's just no way that I'm gonna make a motion that we deny this.
Second.
I have a motion to deny and a second. Further discussion?
If we could, just for the record, Ms. Thompson, if you could provide some reasoning, I think,
Just for the reasons we already mentioned there, we've got traffic issues already. The truck on the highway there shows that there's nowhere for the trucks to pull off. I'm concerned about them pulling in. Been multiple conversations already about trucks rolling over, pretty well documented. And just recently, we've asked for, we didn't ask, we had some folks that adding aid to construction. Just, we mentioned it 7/10 mile down the road to the 840. We already know we got traffic issues, so I think that's sufficient enough.
Any further discussion? Come forward.
If the commission would, let us defer this, and, we can look at a neighborhood meeting and and what kind of zoning. By no means are we trying to introduce a lot of trucks out here. That is merely to, unload the occasional truck if needed. So we're just not trying to hide anything. There could be a truck come out here for a residential house. Not any different than that. So if you would, let us, if you'd accept our deferral request, we'll go back and work on it some more. It sounds like we need to talk with some neighbors and try to change our game plan a little bit.
I'll be glad to reword my motion. I'd make a motion that we defer this and give the applicant time to regroup and discuss traffic concerns as well as neighborhood concerns.
So
I agree with that as the second of the original motion.
okay, so you have changed your motions to defer.
Sure.
Any further discussion on that?
I do have a question. Did I hear Matt say that they're going to look at considering a different zoning?
I think he said, just looked at zoning options, so
Okay,
everything's on the
perfect.
table.
That's just one
options.
of my major concerns is what's allowed with that zoning. And we're opening up a huge gate of access, and nothing specific to this project, but it's specific to that type of zoning. But I just wanted to make sure that's what Matt said. Thank you.
And a public meeting with the community out there. Any other discussion? Call the roll.
Jason Beavers? Lee Bogle?
Yes.
Amber Brown? Trey Gooch?
Yes.
Shannon Hicks? Mike Cush? Charlotte P?
Yes.
Jeff Phillips? Michael Shirley?
Yes.
Jim Thompson? Pettis Reed?
Yes,
Motion carries.
it does carry. Just to remind everybody, all rezoning regulation amendments request will be considered at the April 16th, 25 Board of Commissioners meeting. Mr. Mossy, any staff reports and other business?
No, sir. Mike, do you have anything? Okay.
With no other business, we are adjourned.